Morning, Mindurance heads. Hope you're doing well. Dr. Steve Graef here, psychologist, performance designer, and leadership coach. And welcome to another edition of Thinking with Dr. Steve, where I take a random topic and reflect on it and create some little life lesson or takeaway as a result. Keep in mind that this is not meant to be any medical advice. It's just me having fun, offering my thoughts, helping me think through some things, kind of demonstrating my coaching process, and hopefully you get something out of it as well. So without further ado, today's topic is soup kitchen. Soup kitchen. Okay. All right. Well, when I think of soup kitchen, I think of volunteering. And again, this is the part of the dump. I'm just kind of throwing puzzle pieces down to see if anything kind of resonates and if there's any thread that I want to pull and think through. I think of volunteering and how I have a life philosophy, and my life philosophy is legs. Legs, legs. They're the legs that I stand on. They're kind of my North Star. And LEGS stands for love, experience, grow, and serve. And so service is kind of a volunteer aspect. Volunteering is associated with that. But truth be told, though I do service in my work, I consistently tell myself that I want to do more volunteering. So a soup kitchen is absolutely a place that I would love to do that. Support the homeless. It's a massive need, and I've done a lot of RV living for the past 7 years, and so kind of homelessness by choice, always knowing that I have a home to go back to, is very different. So okay, volunteering is something. This concept of homelessness, what makes a home. The RV isn't a physical structure. It's not like the brick and mortar home that I'm visiting my parents right now. So what makes a home? Home is where the heart is. But then also soup. I mean, what a great dish soup is. So many different varieties, but like there's always ingredients, right? Like the melting pot of different ingredients coming together to create something different. Very delicious. And the seasonal aspect of soup. And sometimes soup is particularly heartwarming, soul filling, especially when the weather gets cold. But then there's cold soups like gazpacho that you can eat when it's hot outside. So the variability of soup and the deliciousness of soup. Kitchen, where we make things happen, create a lot of conversation around the holidays happens in the kitchen. So a kitchen is a special environment where certain things happen. You don't do kitchen things in the living room. You don't do kitchen things in the bedroom. You don't do kitchen things in the bathroom, right? You don't shit where you eat, as they say. Which is interesting. The kind of the value of environment and having particular environments that accomplish or represent particular things. Let's pull that thread. Maybe that thread will be helpful today. The thread of and the thread of the importance of environment. And environment is actually one of my pillars of performance design. So I feel like I'm cheating a little bit here today because I'm kind of pulling on that particular thread. But really, all of these threads end up going to probably one of 10 of these performance pillars. Not always, but my last video was on motivation, which is a mindset thing. And a mindset is one of my pillars. So we'll see if if that's how it shakes out. Certainly not my intention, but it could be a happy accident, if you will. But environment is absolutely a deliberate pillar. And what I mean by environment is if we want to perform well. And what do I mean by performing well? I don't mean that we need to be the Kobe Bryants or the LeBron Jameses of the world, or these massively successful people. I know you're going to hear a lot of performance coaches kind of go that route, and that's fine, and that's a lane for people who are like really looking to level up. And I can appreciate that, but I also really just appreciate the average Joes, like you, me, and others that, we're not catching the world on fire, but we still want to like live a life that we want to live, an intentional life, a purposeful life, a life built on legs, and all of that. Kind of has somewhat of a performance quality. Every morning when we wake up, we are performing in some type of way. We have to perform in our job. We're performing and wanting to optimize our performance in our relationships. We don't view it as a performance, but we're on. Like when we're doing these things, we're on. And so if we're on, there's always the possibility of being on a little bit better, 1% better. And so the environment that we are in can have an impact on our ability or capability to live the type of life that we want to live. And let me give you an example as I'm thinking this through. As I mentioned, I've been doing the RV life for about 7 years, and the RV is great in that it provides freedom, flexibility, cost effectiveness, a minimalistic, simplistic way of living. It forces me to contain the amount of stuff and materials and baggage that I have, which is all good. There's a bit of a community surrounding RVs, which is good. That environment. And a lot of people view that environment and that way of living in a somewhat positive way, especially these days. But make no mistake, the environment of the RV also has its cons. So yes, the RV promotes freedom and flexibility and minimalism, but the downside of that is there is compromises on sleep. If you are boondocking and having to find Cracker Barrels or Walmart parking lots or street parking to stay at, that rattles the brain. And even if it's not like a massive rattling, it's an under the surface kind of undercurrent rattle of, am I going to get knocked on tonight? Am I going to get woken up because this isn't a place that I'm allowed to park? That's a constant little worry. So your sleep is kind of compromised. You're operating in this, in my case, it's kind of a Class B RV, which as a bigger guy, it's tighter. So again, like you're constantly working around yourself, which can create some like little micro annoyances in oneself. The lack of routine and consistency. If you're constantly traveling around, you don't ever get like a real routine or any consistency. There's no consistency of sense of like community in a place per se if you're constantly moving around. You have general van lifers that there's kind of this pseudo community, but in terms of establishing a route or having your feet planted, you don't get that in an RV, or at least I didn't get that. This isn't generalizing to every single RV or van lifer in the world. It's my experience that hopefully you'll be able to draw something from. So there's some downsides of that. And so as a result, because of that environment, my health kind of sacrificed a little bit. My ability to get traction in relationships is sacrificed a little bit. Maybe business oriented goals are sacrificed a little bit because I'm constantly looking for a coffee shop to go to. Where can I get work done? Where can I hold my calls? So that decision fatigue can impact your ability to gain traction in business, because if you have your coffee shop and you know that's going to be your coffee shop for years on end, you don't have to worry about the coffee shop. You don't have to waste cognitive energy on where am I going to get Wi-Fi today. Instead, you can just focus on your business goals and the task of doing business. So that is an environment that has some pros associated with it. There's also some cons associated with it. So for like growing a real sustainable business, maybe being in an RV is not the best environment to achieve that type of performance goal. Another example, visiting my parents. I love my parents. Fantastic. So my childhood home that I'm in. But when I'm here, I get in like cozy Steve, restful, chill out mode. Home cooked meals, walking the neighborhood instead of like real intense exercise that I might get if I was going to a gym somewhere. And I kind of get into that wavelength that does not necessarily promote hustle, productivity, high performance. It's chill type of performance. It's relax, doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad performance. It's just that's what the environment crafts, and there's absolutely positives associated with that, and there's also cons associated with that type of environment as well. So whenever I visit, I have to be mindful of crafting my environment, or recognizing that when I'm in this home environment, I'm not going to catch the world on fire, and that's okay. The purpose of this environment is relaxation and connection with my family and my loved ones. Whereas if I spend time, or when I spend time in New York City, that stimulation, that culture promotes motivation and momentum. It obliterates inertia. I lose weight. I'm more productive. I pick my guitar and ukulele back up. I'm taking classes, acting classes or improv classes, and I kind of get in machine mode because of the environment that I am in. And so as we move towards wrapping up today, I know there is a real opportunity for me to be very deliberate about the environments that I choose to put myself in, and the length of time and the duration that I put myself in those environments. I'm becoming more and more aware of the impact that these environments have on my goal pursuits, or my energy, psychological, emotional energy. And again, none of them are inherently bad. None of them are inherently great. But you have to recognize the pros and the cons of the environments where we spend our time in, and being more intentional about when we spend time in there and what purpose we're spending time in those environments. So the ask is to kind of take a little bit of an assessment, inventory, if you will. Take an inventory of the environments that you're spending time in. Home environment, work environment, recreation environment, friends environment. And are those environments crafting the types of outcomes that you would want or you would hope from those environments? Are those environments impeding or inhibiting your progress to grow and develop in other environments? Do they cross collaborate in some type of way? Do they enhance each other, or are they kind of inhibiting one another? If you're hoping to have a real successful 2026 business goal wise, and you have the same challenges with RV living, maybe you need to get out of the RV for the rest of 2026 to simply pursue that business goal. But you know the RV life is not going to get you there. That's the opportunity. Wake up, open your eyes, and take inventory. And I'm talking to myself just as much as I'm talking to you. This is Thinking with Dr. Steve. I don't have all this shit figured out. I'm 44 years old with a man bun. Like, I'm just coming at this from whatever bubbles up and pops up, and as I think about this right now, and based on whatever experience and reflections and perspectives I have. And what's amazing is after I'm done with this video, an hour later, I have some other thought about it, but I'm not going to re-record it. This is just at this moment, at this time, Wednesday, May 20th, 9:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or maybe Eastern Time. This is my perspective. So take inventory of the environments, and to the extent that you can, start being more deliberate about where you're spending your time based on what you're hoping to accomplish or want in your goal. And maybe you need more of an environment, maybe you need less of an environment, maybe you need to get out of an environment altogether, or maybe you need to step in to a new environment altogether. And I know for me personally, I will always come back to visit the home, the house, the family. And it's important to get away in order to exercise, both literally and figuratively, some of the capability goals that I want that are more possible when I step into other environments. That's good stuff. Very good stuff. So, curious, leave a comment. What's the environments that you feel most fulfilled in, that allow you to pursue the goals and the capabilities that you're most interested? Put it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Or how do environments get in your way? I would love to hear that too. Of course, like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this video. And I'm going to wrap this one up for another episode of Thinking with Dr. Steve. And if this vibe kind of resonates you and reflecting and kind of putting puzzle pieces out there and crafting things and thinking through and untangling life's questions, then check out The Room. The Room is my one session at a time coaching offer, and would love to pop in there with you. There's some information about that in the description. But that's it for today. We will see you on the next installment. All right, have a good one, folks. Bye.